Today's episode of Moped Outlaws Live is not sponsored by Adrenochrome Cola, but it should
What?
be.
Yeah, it should. I like it. Your life today is not sponsored by anybody, but it should be. Why don't you send
Actually,
us?
I'm the sponsor of my
All
life.
right.
Or if we really want to think about it, God is my sponsor.
God is my sponsor. I
In
like
more
it.
ways than one.
How much do you pay her?
I pay her in orgasms.
Wow. No wonder she's sponsoring. Do you think it'd be possible to live here on the planet in a constant state of high ecstasy, like orgasm?
Yes, I think it's possible, and I think that our nervous systems would adjust, and that would become a baseline, and then there would be a new low and a new high that would be, established. We tend to be equilibrium seekers physiologically. So
Hmm.
while it may be possible to do that, I'm not sure that it would remain that based on our biology. I'm not sure I'd want to try.
Well, that brings up this whole thing of like, okay, so are there people walking around whose like baseline of joy is here and I'm here, and
Yeah.
is manic depressive really sort of a misnomer of an illness that's just someone who
Has a low threshold or a low baseline.
or their baseline is such that they just swing,
As a
crazy.
reformed bliss ninny.
What is one of those? Oh, bliss.
I'm fine with people being happier as a baseline.
What if you weren't? I don't think anyone should be happier. We're done with that. Vote Republican. Yeah, that was a jab, Republicans. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It was a lighthearted feint. It wasn't quite as striking a blow as you might have thought.
Yeah, so calm the fuck down.
Yeah, I mean, I think bliss and then the sensation of being in an orgasmic state the whole time. Those are, to me, that's different. Because to me, the physical sensation of that is just so intense that I definitely don't think I'd want to be in that state all the time. But a sense of beauty, and wonder and at one-ment feels fine.
One-ment.
Yeah, that's a great.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a great word. We have an upcoming guest named Alan, who will be on in a couple of weeks, who does a sort of interesting take on that word.
That's right.
Right. So look forward to that for sure.
Yeah.
And there's some percolating ideas around some moped content, which we've wanted to do it, but we've been waiting for the thing that feels aligned. We're not just going to go out there and, whore ourselves out to the Vespas of the world.
And we did reach out to Vespa Forum, and nothing came from it.
Well, we really are interested in finding out more about that culture.
We're interested in riding them ourselves, owning them.
Yes, owning them and riding them.
So send us $8,000 to the hosts at mopedoutlaws.com.
Yes, or you can go to our NFT bank and buy all the NFTs.
Right.
And that's OpenSea.com/mopedoutlaws. Is that the right address?
God, I haven't been there in so long.
Right? We might not even know. Maybe somebody bought them all.
No, we would know.
This is funny because I remember how on fire everybody was about NFTs. And I just think about all those guys who I spent $750,000 on this, and they still have it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, if you look up moped-outlaws on OpenSea.io, you'll find us.
Got it. And we would definitely use the revenue to get going on the moped project here for sure. The
Yeah.
Blue Highway project, I guess, is one way to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. The Blue Highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how was your week so far? Your play opened?
Now it opens Friday.
It opens
And
this
so
Friday?
we've been doing tech and Q to Q, which there's so many cues in this play. It's crazy. But last night was a dress rehearsal. It went well. Tonight we're going to be practicing scene changes because those are still clunky.
Right, takes a fair amount of time.
Yeah.
Am I correct in my analysis that you have a reduced role in terms of quote unquote stage time?
In comparison to the three main people, yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
How much speaking dialogue do you have?
none. So the TV crew is silent through the whole thing. It's all, and that's partly why I took it because I wanted to work on physical work and
Okay.
physicality. And I've taken a lot of responsibility with what my character has on the stage because some things weren't coming that I thought were needed for this role. And so I went out and got them. And
So like a headset, like that kind of stuff?
that kind of stuff. Yeah. Um, are you going to see it?
I don't know.
I think it's something you and your partner would, she who shan't be named, would appreciate this story.
Okay. Well, I'm interested in finding fun things to do. So,
Well, so it's 3 weekends starting this weekend, Friday and Saturday, 7:30 it starts in the big theater, and Sunday matinees for the next 3 weekends.
and that's at the College of
Old
Marin campus at Kentfield, right?
Penfield, right, in the main performing theater.
Is
Yeah.
there a name for that theater that you remember?
Yeah, I think it's the James Dunn Performing Theater.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh God, poor James. I made a mockery of his name.
That's all right. I'm sure you heard it before.
Yeah, just like me. Where'd you go?
Uh, have I ever done that in our knowledge of each other?
Oh, if you have, I don't remember it.
Oh, you did
But I do have a
far
very
worse, Wilker. Far worse.
I didn't say that.
I experienced it.
I don't hold on to the past very much, except for that one thing. But that's mostly about me.
What is it?
Yeah.
What about
So
you?
yeah,
You got a gig coming up, I saw, right? Oh yeah, it's the birthday party.
what?
Isn't there a Illumination birthday party coming up?
I don't know what you're talking about. No. I have a birthday party coming up in 2 weeks.
Your own.
Yeah. And then Lumination, we are doing a show.
Yeah.
It is a birthday party. Yeah, and a show. You're right. Now that I think about it, it's at the Paper Mill Creek Saloon in San Geronimo,
It's coming up kind of quick, right?
April 18th.
Oh, that's not
We
so.
go on at 9 p.m. But before that, there's a birthday party with a DJ.
Really?
Yeah. So there's going to be that, and there's going to be we're going to have a couple special guests sitting in with, or at least one that I know of, sitting in with the band. It'll be fun because we haven't played in a little while, and there's also some things that we can't announce yet that are cooking that we're really excited about.
Is that shark bait or illumination?
Illumination has something that's in the hopper that hasn't been publicly released yet, so I can't mention it. But I'm excited about doing that with them. And then yeah, we're Shark Bait is actively sort of looking for places to play right now. And we don't have a big following or any of that. So it's definitely, the bottom of the barrel kind of, we need spaces. One of the things I want to do is like throw a party at a facility, right?
Yeah.
So the thing about that is it's going to be like it's all just going to be money that goes out the door because there's
Right.
no revenue.
What about, have you looked into those house concerts at all?
Um, I haven't spent a lot of time. I understand the basic premise of it. For a while, I was talking to Mr. about it because he's been doing it, and I've seen a little bit about how that goes, and it's a lot to organize. Um, and I think just throwing a party is enough for me at some point, maybe this summer, like a pool party or something like that. Um, yeah, I played some music this weekend just on my own. I had a little extra time, so that was fun. Um, I love that there's still things for me to discover about my own playing, and my abilities keep progressing even at this age. And I had also some extra time to watch a couple really great music documentaries. One was about the Jagged Little Pill era, um, for oh damn,
Alanis Morissette.
Alanis Morissette, yeah. And then what was the other one I watched? It's escaping me right now.
Was it about the um, Lilith Festival, Lilith
No,
Fair?
no, it wasn't Lilith Fair.
That was a great documentary.
Yeah, I've been thinking about watching that.
It's really good.
And I think as I was watching Alanis Morissette's documentary, I started to understand how misunderstood she was at the time, and I started to think back about my own mindset around that time and my relationship to her artistry and her music,
Hmm.
and, I was like, "Yeah, I get it." Like, I'm a completely different person now, thank goodness.
I've
And
seen her say in an interview that there she chose anger. Like, that seemed like, as an artist, there needed to be an emotional choice made, and there was a lot of like this lovey-dovey sort of thing being chosen by female artists, and she was like, I'll be anger."
yeah, it's a great story, and to hear the various women who were part of the industry at that stage talk about what it meant for women, for her to break through at that level, and also, the insane velocity, like, she went f
From
they played her song on KROQ in LA, and it went ballistic and became the most requested song. And they were in a van, and they toured for a few months in a van, but before they could get across the country, there were literally 5,000 people sitting outside of the, 350 person venue to try to get in.
right.
And then so they got on a rocket ship, man. And, she hired a couple of really a band, and, Taylor Hawkins was her drummer for a long time. And, it was a fascinating documentary. I saw it on HBO.
That's what the Lilith Fair is very interesting because of what's going on in the industry at the time. That fair, like, no one wanted to sponsor it or back it because no one's going to come and see a bunch of women. And when it started blowing up, then they still were having pushback. But also to hear, as you say, the women artists saying what they were experiencing coming together, and the vibe, the environment that was being participated in. And there's a generalization to it, but it does seem like women appreciate a creative, uplifting environment that apparently us men have a little trouble creating.
Yeah. Is that a reflection of your experience from the Lilith Fair documentary, kind of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The takeaway from the, documentary about Jagged Little Pill is a little bit different. It's more around misogyny and rock and roll as a men's club, and I found that also true with the Joan Jett documentary, and I love that Joan Jett's still out there kicking it.
Yeah.
I think that, Joan Jett and, Alanis Morissette would be a great double bill.
That would be awesome. You
right?
know what I love about Joan is I think she's like at that place just in the arc of life where a lot of especially young women artists just are like, oh, she's the matriarch of the scene, you know?
Mm,
I saw her at Stern Grove with Bodie a couple of summers ago, and she kicked ass still. You know, here's this woman who she's still with, you know, her, the original keyboard guy that they started, what is it, Blackheart Records?
mhm.
Yeah. And they told a little bit of that story, how no one wanted a woman on, you know, a lead front woman on a record label. They were like, well, fuck you. We'll do our own record label then.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, on this theme, Taylor Swift has reached sort of the culmination of her current version of herself.
Hmm.
And what we're seeing as 2026 unfolds, if you follow her, is that she's going to get married.
Hmm.
And that will change her dynamic quite a bit, I'm sure. And I would assume, based on just how it feels to watch her documentaries and hear her speak and Kelsey's values, they're probably going to become parents right away, too, is my guess. And that's a whole different world for a performer, right? Being a parent and a singer.
Yeah.
You know, the men have all done it, but I'm suspect that we probably won't see much in the way of new music from her for a while.
I don't know. We'll see. Take your bets, place your bets. I don't know. That woman's so prolific in her desire to create new music. Like I put her right there with Prince, where those two beings just need to make music.
Yeah, and speaking of which, what the heck with Prince's vault? Like, it seems like nothing new is coming out of there. And did it get stolen? Like, what happened? Like, nobody I hear of talks about it. What do you know? What are you
Well,
hearing?
what I've seen them doing is they were re-releasing his albums, and like I think the last one they did was Around the World, and
Yeah.
it's, you know, like 6 CDs if you know, were to buy it as a package thing.
Why? Because it's got like a million versions of different songs and stuff.
Yeah, and live versions and some new stuff on it.
I'd be
Um,
interested in that. That was one of my favorite albums. Around the World in a Day is a great record.
yeah, it is.
I have a couple of 12-inch vinyls from that are really great, like Pop Life, the 12-inch.
Uh,
And one of my all-time favorite Prince songs, "The Ladder," is also on that record. So,
yeah, that's a
and he wrote
great.
that with his dad. So,
Really? Oh
yeah.
no, wasn't it a piece of music that his dad had, and he made a song from it?
How is that different from what I said?
Well, like writing it with you is like you and I are sitting down writing something together, whereas I find a piece of music that you wrote 12 years ago and I incorporate that into a song.
Yeah. The answer is I don't know, but I do have an assumption that I'm making based on some things I heard. And so here's my unqualified assumption that there was a point at which he and his father were both, kind of talking about it and talking about the
Oh, wow.
lyrical structure and stuff like
Okay.
that.
All right, cool.
So my sense of it is that there was a literal collab as opposed to just here's a piano melody I remember. Um, the other thing that I love by Prince is that song, "The One Song," which is mostly a spoken word
Oh,
piece,
right. Yes, you've
and
shared
it's
that.
9 minutes long, and then it ends with this great little ditty at the
Yeah.
end. I've thought about what it would be like to take that last musical part and turn it into a punk song, right? I think that'd be fun. In fact, the other day, I was thinking it'd be fun to form a punk band with you.
Hey, well, maybe because Mike and I were going to form a punk band about a year ago, and I just
Oh,
had too much going on, and we were going to call it Fucked, F apostrophe CKD or something
okay.
like that. And I have a couple songs. Yeah, let's do it. Would you be in a punk band with Mike?
I am open
Okay.
to doing it. I'm not sure that the feeling would be mutual. Um, and if he's going to play guitar, then it might be best if I played bass, because getting a punk band fully formed, that's always the big challenge. You usually got a guitarist and a singer right away. Bass and drums are a little bit more difficult. Part of me would like to play the drums in the band,
Well, you know what I
but
was
I'm a
just
really
thinking?
shitty drummer.
No, but that's what I was just thinking of, that punk ethos of like the Breeders, where I forget the sister's name who had never played bass before and she came in as bass player, or Sid from Sex Pistols had never played bass. Like I'm for that ethic, that energy being a like, let's fucking really do it if we're gonna do it. So yeah, I'd be all for you playing drums.
Well, that not until you hear me.
No, like
Well,
even
but
more
just think of
so.
it, it might be hard when we start to get down to the songs and
Fuck it. Well, like that's part of punk. It's like fucking just put it out there.
yeah.
As long as you're playing hard and fast.
So, uh, Ubenza and I could shift positions too, depending on the situation, and that dude can play the drums,
Yeah, he can.
right? So
Yeah.
that might be one way to go about it, is to have him play the drums.
Well, you know what? Let's I'm for it because I in fact I've been wanting to ask you if this last Friday's thing with the Supreme Court and our president's response to that verdict they came up with in your group that you meet with, was
The
there any
conscious description, just the conscious conversation group.
right, was there any, did that ripple through? Was that part of what you guys discussed recently?
Did not get a lot of traction. Um, we had some other things that came up, which was we got a new member who is very hardcore MAGA.
Hmm.
And one of the things that's been true about the group is that finding folks that are tend towards that sort of political identification has been difficult for us. And I've been trying to avoid us being another sort of middle of the road or left leaning echo chamber. And when he came in, there were a lot of people upset. Like he pushed a lot of triggers on people, and people got into it with him. And so they lost their consciousness,
Oh my
right?
god.
And then there was a whole sort of backlash about wanting to get him out of the group. And I've been holding the line on that, saying, no, this is exactly what we have to learn to deal with each other, is rather than bailing on the conversation or labeling someone as this or that, we have to actually engage, including him, because he was not operating from one of the rules is no ad hominem attacks, which is, if you don't understand what the word ad hominem means, it means personal attacks instead of the idea. And he was just like vomiting at the mouth a lot of the talking points, which is ineffective in the format of having an actual back and forth point counterpoint sort of debate. So what I've done is I've interceded a bunch and gotten him to understand that he needs to slow down and he needs to ask questions instead of just lobbing things in as if they're the truth. And he needs to understand the rules of debate so that he can conform to the container. And um, it didn't help that we have some heavyweights in the group. Like people, like one of the guys in the group literally ran 200 rescue missions out of Afghanistan after we bailed out of there. I mean, he's hardcore connected, right? And um, he was not happy with Biden, but he was also not going to let a bunch of those Afghani people who'd helped all those soldiers for decades just get burned up in the crossfire. But one of the things that he has access to is security records. And so one of the things that surfaced is that the security background on this guy that showed up in the group. And there's a lot of stuff in there that is problematic in certain ways, right? And that was being offered as a leverage to try and get him out. And so I'm in this very odd position of disagreeing with someone's point of view and disagreeing with the way that they bring it to the group, and recognizing that there's some issues in their past that make them less than favorable,
Right.
and then still being an advocate for him being able to stay and develop the skills he needs to develop and able to be articulate, and for us to be able to have conversations with him, because that's the whole point, is this idea that if we just kick each other out and label each other as not non-starters, we're going to end up in civil war. And I said that to him, and
Well,
he got it.
that's what I think. Like I just did for the gratitude post that went live today because it was my turn. I talked about that element and I went in, for me, an extreme. Like I think of an extreme human. One example is Idi Amin. And I mentioned him in my post as an individual. Like I was talking about our life and how it's a palette of colors that we paint with, and we're all creators. And even someone like Idi Amin, if we really stop and take a breath and look, there's a lot of colors to that palette. It's not black and white. That was my point. It's not black and white. And part of what I hear with you is that's what you're asking everyone. Stay at the table, take a breath. We got some time. We don't have to get it all in right now. And if we really have breath and listen, we'll start to see the variances and the influences that have created what exists. And as you say, and I saw one of, oh, Toast, my brother
Yeah.
Toast. He shared a video with me from the actor Howard, who was saying we're heading towards World War III, and he had all these
Oh, Terrence Howard, I saw that post.
Okay, all right. And that's the thing. We are co-creating something. And part of what I hear you saying is, hey, these volatile elements, we need to sit with them because they're part of the creative process. And if we don't deal with it, they're going to fucking blow up. And that's what we will have created. But if we all stay in the room and be with each other, we have an opportunity to choose a different creation from a more conscious place.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I noticed about navigating this particular level of upset in the group as the primary holder of the sacredness of the space, the cost to my nervous system was pretty intense. Like I was rolling a lot of energy in my body and it was exhausting and stressful. And I was like, okay, that's something I hadn't really felt. I knew there'd be something like that in the process. And I had to sit and go, okay, am I actually going to be able to fulfill this role at this level with this level of volatility? Because right now we're talking about one guy who isn't quite as hardcore, who's on the sort of, we'll call the conservative side of things. And then this guy who is ready to spit battle. He's like, in his 20s. So he's got a lot of juice, right? And he's very convinced of himself being right. Right. So in an essence, I got served up the perfect thing to grapple with. And there's still a possibility that this particular individual will be asked to leave and not be allowed to participate. And tonight is the meeting. And it's, it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. And I warned everybody an hour ago, hey, one of the things that's going to be happening is I'm going to be holding a much tighter container, which means you'll have to raise your hand. You have to be acknowledged to speak. There'll be a 2-minute speaking period. I'm gonna hold the line here. And I made everybody read debate rules again and said, this is what we're doing here. Like, it's not just a throwdown conversation. So my hope is that we get through this and that this guy can demonstrate some maturity and some composure, because as much as I disagree with some of the things he thinks and I disagree with his conclusions, I see in him the human who is grappling with the incongruity of the environment he's in and trying to find answers. And if we can't if we can we'll put it this way, if we can make this work with this level of intensity, then it's a good promise for the overall projection of the group.
And the world, even, because that's
Well, I'm
just.
not gonna put the whole world on this one guy and this
Oh, I
internet.
am. No, but that's like a peachy dish of what we are globally. And a couple things come to mind. One is, have you created for yourself a supportive like toolkit? Like for me, I'm thinking if I was in your shoes heading into tonight, I might have like a yummy cup of hot cocoa and a peanut butter cookie or some sort of squishy thing, that I'm.
That's like giving an alcoholic like a beer to calm his nerves.
Well, I'm saying for me, like to create in my environment supportive elements that as I'm going through this process of holding a container that is blowing up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things I've done is I've made it possible for me to not have to be there every week. And I'm not attached to it in terms of my commitment. Like, I'm interested in this process, and if it doesn't grow and unfold in a way that feels good for me, I'm not gonna feel like the world's gonna end because this group didn't work out. Its premise didn't hold water, right?
Right.
And to that extent, if like I'm not gonna feel bad if I decide it's not worth the energy I have to put out anymore, and I'm not gonna make that mean something about the world. So from the petri dish point of view, right? And if we get this one guy to sort of start being more civil in the way he does discourse, I'm not gonna make that mean that I think we're gonna
There's
figure it
hope.
all out. I already think there's hope, or I wouldn't have started the group, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to be an example of what that would look like. And I think one of the most powerful examples from history is the South African Truth and Rights Commissions,
Right.
right? Which was where everybody was invited to come in, speak their piece on the record.
Right.
And there were decisions made by the ANC that, definitely meted out some consequences to people. It wasn't without consequence. So these things have consequences for sure. And there was a point where one guy in the group said, I know where your door is, right? I know where to knock on your door. And I was like, that's not okay. Right. Right. I've had a couple of back channel conversations that aren't in front of everybody. And I said to the guy who said that, I said, hey, you're worried about this other guy because of his security profile.
And you just threatened
And
him.
you just basically did the most heinous thing. If like you'd done that to me, I would have been very upset and very afraid of you. Right. And then he explained what he meant by knocking on the door was to invite him out to have dinner and sit down but he didn't say, why don't we go out to dinner? Right.
Right.
So there was
Right.
like this, and I happen to know that this one person is extremely valuable human being in terms of the work he does. And he often has a scotch at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock
Wow.
when he gets home, which is like 6 or 7 o'clock California time.
Right.
So there's all of this weird mixture of humanity in this group, which is You know, I love both. I love this guy. He's so smart. He's done so many things, and he's also a filmmaker. And I could say more, but I would begin to reveal his identity in a public forum, and that's one of the bylaws is we don't reveal each other's public identity. But he he's someone who I consider a high level ally, someone who I respect deeply. And for him to make that move just tells me that, you know what? Doesn't matter which side you're on.
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's just last night at rehearsal, I was stripping off a label from a box because, as you know, you don't want branded things on a stage, unless you've got permissions, etc. Because yeah, so I'm pulling off this label, and there was this last little piece, and I'm walking on stage, and I threw it on the floor, and then I was like, "What the fuck? Who do I think's gonna pick that up?" And I went back, picked it up, and threw it away. And I thought, even now, there's still that propensity of the
To go
lowest
unconscious.
form of humanity. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Yes. And I feel a sense of warmth about my willingness to sit in the fire with this.
I'm gonna end it. Let's end on that.